Okay, so hello guys. In this video, we'll be looking at why React and Next is a game changer for developers. So what exactly is React? React is a front-end library of JavaScript, otherwise known as a framework, that enables web developers to build user interfaces. What that basically means is React allows us to build the front-end part of a website. So that's what React is. Now, React is widely known for its component-based architecture. What this means is that with React, we could split a major big task into smaller units of code that we call components. And by the time we assemble this component together in one way, we would have the big task completed. And React allows us to do just that. All right. So this is their official website. So this is that of React. Then we'll also look into Next.js. Now, like I said, React is used to build front end. Basically, the part of the website that users can see, users can interact with, things like the click of a button, the hover of something. So these are front-end things. Then there is another library of JavaScript that allows us build the back-end processes, and that one is Next.js. So this is the official website. So Next.js is another framework now of JavaScript that then allows us handle things like authentication, and these are all back-end processes, right? So with Next, we could now handle the back-end part of a website. So that's it. But before we can begin to build a website that encompasses the front end, the back end, authentication, sending to databases or any database of choice, we need to have certain things installed. And the first we need to have installed is Node.js. Now Node.js is one of the first things that we must install. So if you just come on to their website, that's the URL displayed on the screen here, click on Get Node, then you'll be able to download it here. I have it already, so I'm not going to do that. So just click on download and it downloads into your computer. So that's it. Once Node is downloaded, then we can start creating a React application. Remember that we're working with both React and Next, all right? So the first thing that we have to do to go further is open up your terminal. Open up your terminal this way. Another way to open up your terminal is search for terminal. That's a terminal. So there are different ways we can interact with a computer. The first way is by using what we call a GUI, and that's the most popularly used ways. GUI just means graphical user interface. What this means in simple is that we are going to be clicking on things and we see the effects on our computer, basically interacting with graphics. Then there's another method called CLI, that just stands for command line interface. Now this terminal here is a command line tool. Now this just allows us to interact with our computer by passing in commands. So the first one I'm going to pass in here is going to be cd document. Now cd just stands for change directory. So as far as CLIs are concerned, a directory basically is your regular folder. That's your folder in your normal computer. A folder in the CLI, we call it directories. So that's it. So the command cd document means I want to navigate into my document folder, because in here is where I want to create my React application. I'm going to create my React application. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is this piece of code here. I'll just copy it, and in here I'll drop it. Please, you have to be online for this process because we're going to be installing a couple of dependencies. So some of the dependencies that we would install would encompass React, the DOM for React. We also have to install Next, and we also have to install Node. So that was why the first thing I said was let's get Node downloaded. Once it's downloaded, install it. Click on install and follow the process to the end. Node is installed on your PC, and that works. Okay. So let's come back here, and I'm going to run this code once I'm online. Then a couple of questions will pop up, and we are going to answer those questions together. So the first question is whether we want to proceed. Okay to proceed. I'm going to hit Y, meaning yes. Let's carry on with this. Okay to proceed. Then what's your project named? So like I said, a directory is otherwise known as a folder. Now the piece of code we just picked from Next's official website, all this guy is going to do is that it's going to actually create a folder for us. So the name of the project that is being demanded at this stage is going to be the name of the folder. Basically, what should we call that folder? And I want to call mine okay, let me do that again. My React app. So when you are giving your folder a name at this stage, you don't put space between your words. If you must pass in more than one word like I just did, separate them by either an underscore or a hyphen. and I chose hyphen. So that's it. Now the first question is, would I like to use TypeScript? No, I'm not going to use TypeScript. And saying no to TypeScript just automatically is saying yes to JavaScript. Now since this is CLI, your mouse would not be of much use, so you'll be using your arrow keys to navigate left and right. So I'm going to hit no to TypeScript. Then would you like to use ESLint as a debugging technology? No. Would I like to use Stolen CSS? Most definitely. So I'll hit yes. So would I like my source code inside, would I like my code rather inside the source directory? So at this stage, we already understand what directories are. These are just folders, and I don't want my code inside the source folder. Then would I like to use the app router? It's recommended, okay? So saying no to the app router is like saying that I want to be using the page router. And they recommended app router because it's the latest edition, it's the latest version out there. So I'm going to say yes to the app router. Then turbo pack for Next.dev, it's another dependency that is required. So I'm going to hit yes to that. And then customize the default import alias. I'm going to hit no because whatever import statement that is given to me, I think I can work with that. So that's what happens. And if you check, the dependencies that are being installed here are the three that we talked about, where we had to install our React, which is being installed, then the DOM, that's React DOM, and then Next as well. So let me talk about using npm. Now npm just stands for Node Package Manager. What npm does is npm is just basically allows us to install these packages. So the default package manager that we'll be using for this React application is npm. There are a couple of them. There's npm, there is yarn, there is bon, and there is pnpm. These are just package managers that allows us to install dependencies or packages into our website. So having installed Node and now installing React and Next, we should be good to go to create a full project. So I'm going to come back once this is done installing. Alright, so it's done installing and the packages are there. So all I need to do now is, like I said, this created a folder for me. So I want to now navigate to that folder. So I'll do a cd, which once again means change directory. And I called mine my React app. So if you check, the path of this has changed. My React app has been added. So the next thing I'm going to do is, in here now, I will just open this up on VS Code. So this command does that for me. Code space dot, opens it up on VS Code. So this is what it looks like after creating a React application for the first time. So I'm just going to run through what each of these will do. There is the app folder. So remember we use the app router. So we have an app folder. Now every route that must be displayed for users to see must be located inside of the app folder. Then we have the node modus folder that was used to store a couple of the dependencies that were being installed over time. Then there is public. Public is used to hold your resources, things like images, videos in your website. Public. Gitignore. Gitignore just contains the files that every time we perform a push request to GitHub, whatever file is in here is not going to be pushed to GitHub. So there's a full video for the GitHub and Git tutorial. Then we have these configuration files. These are just configuration files. Then there's also package lock and package. So package just holds the dependencies that you've installed alongside the version numbers. Then this is the lock for those version numbers. Then we also configure Tailwind CSS here, and this is the default readme file by Next. So that's about it. So this is basically how to create a React application and why React is necessary.